Hello, everyone. I am Eilers-Heffner, Sapphire Ambassador with Plexus Worldwide. I am also a physical therapist and mom of 4, and of course, a wife. And so I have just loved this journey of Plexus, of helping others and seeing the vision of time freedom, financial freedom, and leaving a legacy. So I have on with me my dear friend, Emily Thomas. If I accidentally call her Emily Johnson, it is because that is a 20-year history of calling her Emily Johnson for forever. And she and I met when I was in PT school. She was one of the first people that I knew in real life that was a crunchy person. She would make all kinds of broths and soups and drink vinegar and pickle juice. And she always had an explanation for why. And I found it fascinating. So a lot of healthy things my mom did my whole life, but I didn't really realize the why behind it all. It was like, well, if you make a chicken, you boil the bones and make soup because that's what you do, right? But I didn't realize all of the health benefits behind it until Emily started sharing some of this with me. And Emily also saw me go through PT school. And one of the things that she said to me with this whole Plexus business and this journey was, it got her attention to know that I was doing something like this, doing an MLM, sharing health and happiness, got her attention because she saw and knew what I loved about being a PT. She saw me go through it. She saw me have that passion for being a physical therapist. And so for me to shift gears a little bit, I mean, I don't really consider it a huge gear shift because I'm still helping people and educating and using all of my science background, but to see me make that flip really spoke volumes to her. So she is a senior silver ambassador with Plexus, almost a gold here. And I just wanted her to share with you kind of where she has come from and what she has seen through this opportunity as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much. You guys, I'm so excited to be here. I have you on gallery view, so I'm for sure looking at your faces or your headshots, either one. So Elizabeth is, I mean, we are like OG. We go back forever. I did her hair and makeup for her wedding. Like we have been through it. We've studied and done all the things. And so she initially introduced me to Plexus in 2017. And I literally was the client that was like, it's cool. If you believe in it, I believe in it. Let's just do it. And so I just jumped right in and didn't research a single thing on my own, which is not normal for me, but because of the high degree of trust that I have in her, it was very easy for me to just jump in and go for it. I have a very extensive health history background, starting from even when I was a kid. I had autoimmune disorders and juvenile rheumatoid arthritis. I had Raynaud's syndrome. I had a weak immune system the majority of my life. I had non-Hodgkin's Burkitt lymphoma. I had cancer in 2006. So when I was 26 years old, like unsurvivable cancer is the kind of cancer that I had. Elizabeth came and did PT with me while I was doing chemo. And so that was a 9-month-long journey that if you know anybody who've gone through chemo, you know that it destroys your body. And so I had the second most intense version of chemo that anybody can have because they had never seen my cancer before and had no potential cure. So they literally were like, we're going to throw everything in the kitchen sink at it, and we're just going to see what happens. And God was, super faithful, and his plan was not for me to die. He's faithful even when we die. Am I right? But his plan was not for me to die in that season. And so I then spent 5 years of being extremely chronically ill. Like I would joke, like I need Dr. House to be a real person so he can figure out what is wrong with me and fix me. And I was also to the place of, I was just like, I'd do anything. If you told me to go run around the block naked and then like throw myself in a river and it would make me better, I would do it. Like there was a level of desperation that I just didn't care what it was going to take for me to feel better. And I had, when Elizabeth introduced me to Plexus, I had my first child that was a total miracle, and then plunged into the depths of postpartum anxiety that didn't even know was a thing. And so I was in all kinds of a situation, and Elizabeth brought it to me, and it was, you know, it was a really significant game changer for me. I also lost 90 pounds in the process of when I was initially using Plexus, and felt better. I have a lot of different testimonies of like the things that I feel like it helped me to feel better with. My husband as well. And we stopped using Plexus because we couldn't afford it. And for both of us to be using the products, it was super expensive. We had a kid in daycare. It was just like a whole thing. And so I was, you know, I did what most of us do, which is we sacrifice ourselves, we sacrifice our health in order to make sure that what we have for our family is available. So we quit using it for a while. Elizabeth still did what she did. I saw it. I literally missed my Slim like on a weekly basis. Like I was like, felt like an addict. Like I would go digging through purses and backpacks. Like maybe I left one in here. I don't know. And, and so then it was funny because I had just posted a picture of like a handful of supplements that I had that I was using. And she messaged me again, like we're friends. So it wasn't just like my former Plexus, ambassador person. She was just like, what the heck are you taking? Why are you taking so many? And there's like 23 pills in my hand. And so I came back and at this stage to just to simplify, because I was like, I already know I believe in the products. Like I make a little more money now. We can afford it. Yeah, let's do it again. So in the course of the first conversation, Elizabeth had mentioned like, oh yeah, I think I might be going, you know, at some point I'm going to go part-time as a PT, which was mind blowing because again, I had watched her grind and gut and work harder than anybody I'd ever seen to become a physical therapist. And I knew her passion for it and that was like her lifelong dream. And so I was like, and I said, I was like, hold up, why are you going, why would you do that? And she laughed and she's like, Plexus. And when she said that, I was just like, okay, rewind, let's discuss, because the vast majority of the people that I had seen doing, you know, Beachbody or Plexus or you guys name it, the ones that are out there doing it would be like, hey, I was able to help with our Costco bill this month, or I was able to do this other, you know, this other thing, which is amazing. Like, I love that. And that's huge. But for me, working full time, I was just like, I don't see that leap. I don't understand how you get from there to like not having your full-time job anymore. And so when Elizabeth and I got off the phone, I just could not stop thinking about it. And because I love helping people, I talk about everything I do for my health, and when I eat garlic and when I drink goop, whatever, everything I do, y'all, is out there for the world to see. And whether or not it's great or whatever, I don't know. But I just thought, I was like, if she can do this, I can do this. And I was in a place where I had left a job that I loved. I'd worked in a company for 9 years. And then I went to work at another company that I felt really strongly that the Lord had called me to. And it was not the greatest thing in the whole world and not what I had hoped and expected it to be. And so I was in this place of like, what am I doing next? And what can I do next? And so then the more Elizabeth and I talked, the more I just was like, I had to change my mind. And like, I might offend all of you and just, but it's going to redeem itself. So I had to change my mind because I had made so many judgments about women, people working with MLMs and in network marketing. And I think we could all probably write down at least 3 friends that have reached out to us that we hadn't talked to in a decade. And you're just like, really, you're doing that thing? Hey, yeah. And it just is yucky. Nobody likes it. And yet so many people do it, right? And now I'm like, I get why they do it. I have so much compassion for it. I understand what their goal is, but it just can give it a really bad name. And so I'd had all of these like judgments about it, and just real talk, I had to totally repent for those judgments. I had to repent for the fact that I had judged my friends and whatever, people that I saw on social media. And as I did that, I just kept asking the Lord, like, help me see it, like, help me see it differently than I have seen it. Help me to view it through a different lens. And the lens that I ultimately like was like a light bulb moment for me was, I'm like, it's a franchise. Like, you're building a franchise. And I have friends, tons of friends that are business owners, friends that own franchises, multiple franchises. And you take the whole deal from the main company and from corporate, and then you build it yourself. And so when I realized that and repented, and honestly, like, guys, I felt bad in my heart. I felt really badly that I had had those judgments and a lot of misperceptions about people. And And then I just really like got myself geared up, like we're all pumped. Like if somebody's going to go out, like a mom is going to go out and try to hustle a second job, bagging, groceries or doing whatever, where we're taking time away from our families, and it's for like minimum wage, and you're not going to get anywhere. But everybody's like, yeah, good job. Way to get out there and do more. But I'm like, it's in opposition to most of our values, which is to want to be able to be home more with our children, while also contributing in a financial way on top of our normal mom contributions. And so anyway, I just like flipped the script in my mind, and I realized like this is not what I thought it was. And I'm going to be the CEO of my company. I'm going to lead teams of people. And so I came back to Elizabeth when we were talking. I don't know, it was like 3 days later, 2 days later. I was like, I move slow, guys, until I move fast. And then I was talking to her, and I just said, listen, I'm not doing this for Costco money. I just want you to know, like, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this the whole entire way. So whatever it takes, and all the things I need to know, like whatever I got to do, I'm going all in, and we're going to do this thing. And she was like, I've been waiting 3 years. Let's go. So, so anyway, I just did what you guys say to do. And I was like, build belief, build belief, build belief. I'm like working, and then like every couple minutes, like whenever I would take a break, I'd be like watching a diamond documentary. And I'm like, okay. And then, reading as much as I can, and, looking at the roadmap. Like I look at what Rochelle and Elizabeth have done, and so many of you, Lauren and Nicole and Debbie, like I'm watching y'all, and I'm seeing what you're doing. And I'm just thinking, like, how do I duplicate that? And then I think the other caveat that I would say, and this is just because I would need this if I were a new me watching this later, is I said to Elizabeth, I was like, okay, I'm going to be a Ruby by Christmas. Y'all, I didn't even know what a pay point was. I didn't even know how anything worked. But I was just like, I'm going to be a Ruby by Christmas. That's Christmassy, right? Rubies. And so she was like, okay, well, let's talk about what that's going to take. And so she mapped it out for me. And I was like, all right, okay, let me get right on that. And guys, I mean, it could be a miracle. Miracles happen all the time. I'm a miracle. But the point is, she like made a roadmap for me to see what it was going to take. And so I think where I'm at with it right now is, it really struck a chord with me in our last book club when Rochelle said, if we gave you a diamond team right now, you'd probably destroy it. She didn't say it like that, but that's basically what I heard. And you're not equipped. You're not equipped to run a team like that. And so it was such a great humbling moment for me to be like, you're right. And for me then, instead of it to be about my goals and what I'm trying to do, I'm like, Lord, what am I equipped to do? Like, what am I equipped to do? What is the team that I can lead? Who are the clients that I can give the best care to? And across the board, what are you going to enable me to do? Because the last thing I want to do is be given a load that I can't carry and jack up a bunch of people's experiences with Plexus. Like, that's not what I'm trying to do. So, so anyway, I don't know. Oh, real fast. I don't know if this part is still relevant, Elizabeth, or if you want me to pause for you to like talk. So, one of the things was I was just thinking of through the why beyond, being able to pay for my products is huge. That's the reason I quit using Plexus. So that as being a first goal was enormous for me. And then it was, okay, what do I really want to do? Like, I'm asking myself the question, if there's all the money in the bank and I got nothing on my calendar, what do I want to do with my life? And it was just like all these things that I want to do. I'm like, my husband is Indian. His parents have ministries in India. I'm like, I want to build orphanages in India. I want to make a significant impact on foster care in America. I want to have a legacy for my family. Like, I grew up on, welfare and food stamps. I grew up without anything and without any concept of a legacy or anybody being able to provide anything for me. So the idea that we wouldn't just be able to like pay for college, but like literally be able to leave a legacy for our son and, God willing, our other children, it just was like the most inspiring, invigorating thing in the world for me. And I was asking the Lord, like, I kept thinking, like, I need a word. I need a clarifying, like, this is it. And I just was to the place, I didn't ever feel like he said, like, if you do it, this will happen. I just was like, you know what, I'm going to do it, and I'm not going to quit, so I can't fail. And that's what I say, like, on the days when I'm like, why isn't anything happening? Why does it feel like people aren't responding or whatever? I'm just like, it doesn't matter. Like, they're going to come when they're ready. God is going to bring me the team that I'm supposed to have, every single person that I'm meant to help, and that all of us are meant to help. Like, they're going to come to us in the exact right time for them and for us. And so where I'm sitting with it now is just, I can't fail because I won't quit. And that's really what I remind myself of every day.
Yes, I love all of that. And fun fact, an interesting fact that Emily shared with me that was that her heart for foster care. And this is just interesting. And this felt really empowering to me because before she and I had talked, I have been wanting, like, one of my goals with Plexus as well is to provide like some kind of orphanage, foster care, really be involved with that. Or even like crisis pregnancies or something. I don't know exactly, but heart for children, a heart for mothers, that is where my heart is and has been for a long time, even pre-Plexus. But she said that if every church in the US, just every church adopted one child out of foster care, there would be no need for foster care. And that just makes this like feel so doable. That we can make a huge impact in whatever ministry or whatever it is that we're choosing and that God lays on our hearts. But I thought that was really cool. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is great, because this is totally lining up with my passion and my missions as well. So yeah, so that is that. And I just love that, you know, Emily said, like, you're working this hard, you've done this whatever company for 3 years and you're paying your Costco bill. Like, yes, that's amazing. And if that's where we're at, like, yeah, we're going to continue to grow and go. But there are people, you guys, that want to be able to replace their income and replace that time and be home with their families, you know? And so that's what makes this opportunity so amazing. And I've said this on other calls, like, I can sit, when I started my business, my kids were 1 and up, and I would put them to bed and I would work on my Plexus because my husband was gone and classes and at church and doing stuff. And so I had my evenings where I could actually talk to adults, and it was great, but I didn't have to go work extra hours as a PT during the day and leave my kids somewhere with a sitter, with a grandparent, whatever. And I saw that vision and that right away. And that is something that you can continue to take to empower your people with. So the other thing that I wanted to touch on today, since we're headed into the last 90 days of 2020, is that this is your chance to really set up a nice 2021, right? So this is a time where people are getting into new routines and new school routines and part virtual and part in class and this and that, and everything's kind of a mess, or whatever the case may be. There's a lot more people homeschooling this year. And so it's new routines, right? So when Emily said, why aren't they talking back to me? You know, well, people are busy. However, there's a lot more downtime as well in the evenings when people are waiting for their kids, different things. And so they are scrolling more. They're seeing our posts more. They're seeing these things. And so this is super important that you keep doing the work, because like she said, they will join you when it is their time. Okay. And so this is a great opportunity for you to plant a ton of seeds, and just don't stop. When you don't hear people talking back to you, it's okay. Those seeds are being planted. You're going to water them. You're going to nourish them. Like, this is our planting time right now for health and wellness, for health and happiness. Companies, our company specifically with Plexus, the end of the year is when we are out there tilling the ground and putting the seeds in and watering them and making sure they're getting their sun and all of that. That is our job. So come January, that is when we hit the ground running, like literally. So speaking of October here, we're almost in October. October is the last month of the Leaders Retreat contest. So kick it, you know, don't stop. Don't go, well, everybody's in school in a new routine, so I guess they're not going to start some Plexus. No, because they're sending their kids to school with other people and they want them to be healthy. So keep that in mind too. And people will do anything for their kids. Amen. People will do anything for their children. So keep that in mind. Keep planting the seeds. We have the last month of the Leaders Retreat contest. And then coming into the end of December, first part of January, which I didn't know this my first year, but Plexus always sponsors a big challenge. So this past year we had the Renew You, we've had the Slay Your Way challenge, we've had the Slim Down challenges at Plexus puts out like a new combination of welcome pack. They do this big thing, right? And that happens. We know about this the end of end of December heading into January. So make sure that you are prepared, set aside some time, look at your calendar. Obviously, family time is super duper important. Christmas, having that time to reflect on the year, reflect on why we have Christmas, the birth of Christ. Like, definitely take that time to do that. Take that time with your family, but look at your calendar now and just think about setting some time aside between Christmas and New Year specifically to make sure you have some time to reach out with people. So as you're thinking now, these lists that you're making, the IPA that you're doing, the people you're talking to now, if they don't join you between now and the end of the year, come that week between Christmas and New Year's, that is a great opportunity to follow up with them again, right? And people, the other thing too is by the time Christmas is over, the Christmas presents have been bought. So we spend all of our money up from now and another thing you can tell through this time frame, is that, hey, ask for some Plexus for Christmas, ask for some at that time. So maybe not talk about that in October, more December-ish, but keep that in mind too. And then also coming up in January, I don't know if I said this, but the convention contest traditionally is January through April. And so that's another reason that we want to be working right now. So we can start that and have good momentum going into the year. So the other thing that you can do right now, should you find yourself in a slower spot, and I'm not saying you will, like, we're going to ride this momentum as much as we can. Pink Power is in momentum. We're not going to slow down just because it's the end of September, it's going into October. We are not. But if you find yourself where like, okay, I'm not hearing back from people like I normally do, it is a great opportunity for you to do a little extra training. It is an awesome opportunity for you to be talking to your team, talking to your workers, and preparing your workers for this upcoming year, right? So keep that in mind too. This is a great time to say, okay, let me get my systems ironed out. Let me get some extra training in. Do some Zooms with your business builders. Do some on-call, some calls with them. Absolutely, you should be on the phone with them. My team, you're all getting calls this week, by the way. So keep that in mind. Take advantage of that little bit of extra time, because when we are doing a ton of recruiting and a ton of onboarding and a ton of helping people with the health and happiness event and helping people get to silver and helping them see this vision, that does take up some time. So definitely thinking of this ebb and flow through the year as an opportunity for you to continue to grow and learn. So that is kind of what I had for you today. Emily, did anything else come to mind when I was chatting there?
I think that the thing that I'm just trying to remind myself of always, like I listened to a podcast about September is how you set up the rest of your October, November, December. And I just want to encourage all of y'all who probably know this because I'm totally the rookie here, but our consistency matters because people are watching, they are listening, they are paying attention, even when it feels like they're not. And I think that we have to focus on sowing the seed and not fixate on when we get to pick the fruit, and trust that God is going to bring those people in due season. But all we can do is sow and water, weed where we need to.
Yes, I love that. I love that. So, so good. So, all right, you guys, have a wonderful evening, and thanks for jumping on.